again.
Yeah.
Let's go. Chop them off like grenades. It's record talk time. Woo! Two-handed there. What's up, Payne? Now, how are you?
Yeah.
So that was exciting.
It was.
Rob, you were playing the role of the air raid siren right there.
I was hoping he would get the.
Very was, yeah. Good morning, Vietnam.
Well, Ace Ventura with the door open and closed.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of that. Hold on,
amazing.
Here, I don't believe that we are properly everywhere I want to be.
I'm not properly everywhere.
So
Welcome back. Long
It
time.
feels like a long time.
Yeah, super long time. Well, especially because I missed the
Van Halen
one, which I was listening to that today. It's really what an awesome episode, guys. Just phenomenal.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, great takes. And I haven't finished it because I've been super busy at work. So I've tried to like squeeze in listens in like 3-minute segments. So it's taking me a snail's pace to get to it. But yeah, it's really good stuff, man.
I would like for you to check out when you have a moment the actual songs on our lists, because I feel like there's some cool stuff on there, you know.
Did you guys post them on Facebook? No.
I'll send them to you.
Oh yeah, James, how hot is it by you?
I don't know. 79 in my house. I'm pretty comfy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was like 104 out earlier, but like earlier in the day when I'm working, I have an AC vent right over my head and a ceiling fan right behind that. So during the course of the workday, I'm really cool. So if I go out in the 100 degrees after work, it feels kind of nice. But after I've been in it for about a half hour or so, that's when you're like, it's pretty warm.
Yep.
It's pretty warm. All of my clothes are now translucent, but up for a little while, it was pretty good.
Well, I mean, you were in New York. I mean, dealing with the heat and humidity there, would you prefer the dry heat of the desert, or do you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So much. Being in the machine shop for a week, it was basically like drowning for 5 days.
Oh right, because you're not remote if you're in New York. You're on.
Like go to the building.
Yeah. Right on.
It was very, very warm.
Yeah.
But no big deal. Anyway.
So for those enjoying our time together, this is our first record talk as the Triforce of Awesome since
come on, let's get it right.
Nope.
Oh wait, no. What is it? Yeah, there it is.
You're
the bottom. Wait, where am I?
Don't say that too loudly.
There he is.
There it is. Frank's in the frame. Yes. Come on, James. You gotta do the bottom. Get on the bottom, buddy.
That's as high as it gets.
Okay.
But that works.
This is gonna be great for the audio only portion. And we're back.
Each arm is making an angle to make a Triforce.
So, we took some time off so I could reopen over here at the school, and things have been going swimmingly. And, summertime, James turned 40 in our absence, I believe.
Yes.
Was it your big 40?
It was my 40, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we ingested on the topic of the next topic. We had a very, very tasty fancy pants brown liquid that evening.
It was very nice.
I
very much enjoyed.
I went back there for my dad's birthday last week, James, and Lloyd was like, do you want some of that? And I was like, no, I cannot. But like now I'm like on the upper echelon of the cool circle where he's like, oh, this is the whiskey bourbon guy, so we can feed him this stuff. Yeah.
Dude, depending on what he offers you, you just whatever it is, just be like,
okay.
Because I know what's in that cabinet now. So anything he offers you, you say yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeedly do.
I was having a red wine.
Correct.
But on the topic of ingesting beverages, which is an important part of life, we're on to our next segment of the show, one of our most popular ones.
What's in the glass? What's in the glass?
All right, boys and girls, and with that self-explanatory little ditty, we're going to ask you, what's in your glass?
What's in your glass? I've got water in my Dos Equis.
Hey, where'd you get that Dos Equis glass?
I stole it from a bar.
That's what it seemed like.
That's where you get those glasses, isn't it? Like you wouldn't buy them.
No, you never buy them. You steal them. Oh,
And the bar
I'm gonna
tickets are free,
return it.
too.
I just
No,
gotta
the
remember
bar
where I
tickets
took it
are
from.
free, so, I mean, you're not doing anything wrong.
So
Was that?
I have a bottle of Nesquik.
God, you're so sensitive today. Should be fun.
Too sensitive.
Go ahead. Nesquik again? Oh,
Always.
again, because that's what I was watching. It's because I was watching the Van Halen. I'm like, you already had that today.
I had the Nesquik when we did the Van Halen episode too. Yeah. No, it's my drink of choice these days for my like post dinner meal.
Nice.
Well, for those also enjoying your time with us, please be aware that you can purchase one of these fantastic, if it will work. Oh, it's not going to work there.
Oh, not the glass. Sorry.
Hmm.
Eddie's doing a dance in the background because it's
Felt
hot
that.
as balls down here in my basement.
So if you click the links below, you can order one of our very, very, very limited edition What's in the Glass t-shirts.
What's in that?
What's in that?
They are absolutely amazing.
Sponsored
Very,
by
very-
Brad Pitt himself
Correct. And they're available, I
and
believe,
David Fincher. Yeah.
below us if you were to make a click upon that. So what's in my glass? You're curious to ask. I
Hell
have
yeah.
the remnants of an iced Americano with a splash of almond milk and a stevia. I'm going to drink all of it right now.
Nice.
And then this Healthy Greens diarrhea looking beverage, which tastes like coconut.
Yeah. Sewer water.
So, yeah, that's what it looks like.
That does not taste like grass.
No, this one is flavored with a nice flavor. This tastes like a pina colada. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Does
Very
it
cool.
does
Where-
it have clumps in it?
You just got to keep shaking it. It's settled, but it's
Where
not.
do you get all your healthy drinks? Where are you always buying these? You don't make.
A bunch of different companies. This one is from the same one who makes the red powder, which is escaping me right now. Bare Fitness, Bare Fitness, and this is they have a green powder and a red powder. I enjoy that, but sometimes I'm drinking my Extend amino acids, and recently I've been very into the Redcon 1 supplement line. Sponsor us, please.
Please. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, but it's all what it is. It's been a rough couple of weeks this month health wise because we've been visited by guests and vacations and such. So it's time to get back on the wagon. I'm gonna turn this out. Just demonstrating. We also got the embroidered Rob School Music hat.
Ooh, look at that. I
It's
was
very
going to
nice.
ask you what that is. Right on.
All right, so
Very cool.
now that we're all together, we're going to talk about an album.
Wait, we're not just talking
Albums?
about what's in our glasses?
Didn't we finish that? Oh, so we're going to talk about this one.
Just joking. Ooh, load and
I don't have that one.
we don't have
Oh,
we don't have
no.
reload on the vinyl.
I think you should have been happy I just had this because this is like a first press load.
Is it really?
First
Yeah.
press load, huh?
First press load. Yeah, 1996.
Wow.
Who was
cute.
their label around that time? Was it still? It was
was
Electra.
Electra.
It was
Yep,
Electra.
it was Electra.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's wild. I can't believe.
Yeah,
I
the
remember
only
that.
thing they severed at that time was Jason. So too soon.
So what we're going to do today, kids, enjoying our time together. I'm just looking at these photographs of them, and I can see again how that may have been off-putting. You know what they presented themselves with, but we'll get there. Who decided that being that Load and Reload were intended to be a double album initially,
Mm-hmm.
Similar to Use Your Illusion and most double albums, honestly, in my opinion, you can cut out some fat and make a really, really, really good, version of what that artistic statement was. I mean, I have a hard time thinking of any double album that didn't have a little bit of fat on it. So I'm thinking The Wall. I'm thinking Melancholy.
I think these are unique. I personally wouldn't approach Physical Graffiti. I wouldn't approach Melancholy this way. I think the only reason why we've done that with Use Your Illusion, me personally, why I agree with doing it this way, is because they are two separate albums. They were intended to be double albums, but given maybe the industry, given the opinions of certain people, and with the too many hands in the pot, maybe that's why they weren't released as a double album. I think that's why I was cool with doing it this way. But if you're like, hey, let's do a double album, like, yeah, no, we can't cut this.
Oh yeah, I guess because Use Your Illusion wasn't a double album either. Yeah, okay. So this is.
I mean, you
similar
could
to
argue the same thing, like Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. It's one movie. You could argue that Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 are one album, just the way.
No,
that
you're
Load
right.
and
I
Reload
missed
are
one.
one album, but because they were released separately and within a substantial amount of time apart from each other, I don't know. I don't mind doing a best of kind of situation.
Weren't Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 released simultaneously?
Yeah, same day.
They were. Okay.
I think that I don't know if it was Lars or Kirk. It was one of them that said that like they didn't want to release Because I mean, if you think about it, both of these load clocks in at 78.59, so 78 minutes 59 seconds. So it's just 1 second under 80 minutes, which is pushing the limit for CDs at its time. The other reload is 76 minutes and 2 seconds. I mean, to release, he's right. I think if you release those as a double album, it's so much content. Maybe not track wise, but like time wise, there may have been so much. Yeah, it would have fallen to the wayside. And like, I don't think that people may have appreciated. And this still was a very divisive kind of albums. I think he's right though. I think if they were released as one compendium, it probably would have fallen to the wayside. It may have not gotten some of the airplay it deserved for some of those tracks.
I like it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know.
So how do you want to, I was gonna, and I ran out of time today, make each of us sort of a bingo board with all of the out tracks and just
right on.
we had the same.
Yeah.
That's like a fun individual thing. I don't know if that would translate on the around the country virtual medium.
Yeah. Around the country virtual medium. I like that.
For us guys, you don't count. It's only us. So maybe, I don't know, like each of us say a song, and then if someone else has that song, we can all chime in and then just kind of pick it round robin.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, we're just looking for that well-balanced singular piece of work that we think, with these two back-to-back albums.
I stole this graphic from the internet, but I thought it was well put together.
Here it is really well. Yeah. There's a lot of things I learned about this album. I thought the most, divisive thing about this was the fans' reaction. I didn't realize like how much like James and them butted heads over like the artwork and the photographs and certain other aesthetic values of this. I didn't realize like how much internal bickering there was about some of that stuff.
Well, they made such a big deal about them cutting their hair, and I think had they cut the hair and still dressed, at least because if you saw them live, maybe Kirk had the pimp shirt on, but it wasn't like James still dressed like James. Jason still looked like Jason. Like when they were touring and stuff, it still looked like the same band. It's just in all the press photos and stuff, it was such a different visual. But the hair cutting, Jason cut his hair like
before the end of the Black Album tour.
Yeah, in the Black tour when they played Woodstock. Look at the hair. There's dreadlocks on Hammett. Hetfield has the weird mullet looking thing. Jason has the buzz cut. So it's like the hair is so silly.
I don't know.
Something I can mention about James with the mullet. That was due to the burn, right?
I thought so.
So there's a lot that I have in my notes and my feelings on this album based on that accident that I think that changed him a lot. Not just visually, like he lost his hair because it was burned off of his head, but his lungs were vacuumed, if I recall correctly.
Oh, wow.
And that, I believe, is what caused him to have to like take such a drastic turn with his voice, stylistically, and like how he approached everything. But there are still some like shades of older Hetfield in there, but you really have to dig for them. It's really hard to find them because it's so drastically different.
But to be honest, like Load Reload, because we're encompassing Load Reload, the Symphony album, that first S&M, and then I Disappear. I feel like that's the Load Reload, and you could garaging, but that doesn't count. But I think this vocal statement from him, and then if you listen to him in Saint Anger and listen to him in Death Magnetic, I don't think he comes back to his true form. No. Some sort of Black Album mixed with Load Reload hybrid. Even Hardwired, it's a different voice, but at least that, which is some 20 years removed from this, is closer to this voice. Like he went on quite a vocal journey, and I'd imagine that was a factor. I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
I've dwelled on that for a long time, and I think that's definitely a part of. It's less growly. Like this whole album is less taxing on the vocal cords and on your lungs and on your respiratory system. So it kind of made sense, but I don't really love it. But
while breaking this down, do you want to just each randomly pick something, or you want to go our load songs and our reload songs? Did you guys go as far to make a track like a specific order? I did not do that.
I made an order, but I think I made an order.
Okay. No, that's fine.
I just did it in order of how they appeared. So I think most of my first tracks are going to be from Load, and then it goes into Reload. So I didn't do I didn't put it in some sort of conceptual way or anything like that. To me,
of course, James did. James is telling a story.
Yeah, so it's cool.
Well, I was trying to make an album.
So we talked about doing 13 tracks. I have 6, so I went with an EP.
You have 6 total.
6 total.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's not the rules, Brian.
Yeah, I know. That was a stretch to get those 6 on there. So yeah, I know.
So,
I'm sorry, dude.
Rob and I will go twice. Brian will go once.
Yeah. That's fine. Hey, it's fine. I approach it. To me, it was the project was to find a well balanced album, and I think that again, I think a lot of people got decisive about this with the look of the appearance of the band. It wasn't for me. It was musically. To me, this is like it had more of a garage band, basement band feel. So like I know they released garage band, but like to me, this is them a really well knit, put together jam session of like trying new flavors. I mean, they span southern rock, blues rock, country rock. You have a little bit of that thrash in there, some of the heavy metal. To me, it's them screwing out and just putting together a really fantastic product. But you know, it's kind of like, to me, it's like garage band, the garage days. I don't know. It doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't mean I hate it. I couldn't find 13 tracks. I'd be like, yes, this makes the perfect album that I would listen to.
I feel like though, if you were like, so I came into Metallica through James and watching a year and a half of the life of Metallica so often that I felt like I knew these guys, like they're my friends. I still feel that way, which is
I do too.
in that point of my life, it just became so important. My first Metallica album I purchased was Ride the Lightning. And then I got the Black Album because Belt Holes was the first song I learned. But to me, I feel like if you were a diehard like you, Brian, from the thrash beginning onward, wouldn't the Black Album have been much a greater? So from Justice to the Black Album, I feel like is a much bigger departure than from Black Album to Load.
No, because if you look at the trajectory of most bands, whatever genre they start off, so if we're just looking at the thrash or if you're looking at some of like the heavy hitters of like whatever the genre is, there is going to be progression, whether it's progressive rock, whether it's thrash, whether it's heavy metal, black metal. Like there is a progression from the inception to where they currently are. And there's going to be growth. Sometimes not. Some people are just stagnant and they continue to reproduce the same sound. And it's, you know, that you get what you get. I think that you see the progression throughout all Metallica albums. And there is going from heavy, like thrash, Motorhead style blast beats and you know, riffs to more operatic, but still thrashy and heavy as hell. But you have some more grooves to it. So I don't think that the Black Album was out of trajectory by any means. And not to say this is either. I don't think it is. I think this is them experimenting new sounds. And really, if anything, to me, this really showcases like some really amazing talent on their part. Like they really, lyrically, they're doing different things here. Sonically, they're doing things different here. Even Lars has stripped down his style of how he sets up his case. And maybe not his style of playing so much as, but I guess in part that happens too, you know. So, yeah. I don't think the Black Album, to me, is yes, it's definitely a departure from thrash, but not so much. We've talked about in the last episode, like how there are elements of those thrashier things, but it's still heavy as hell. This is not heavy as hell. There are elements that are still heavy as hell, but there's a country song in there, for Christ's sakes. You know, it's just different. That's all.
What gets me, and we've dabbled in this before this conversation, is that I feel like the Black Album is, I think it's the best all-arounder. I think right behind the Black Album and Justice for All is like a second best kind of all-rounder for Metallica. That's just me personally. But I think you touched on something there that I have overwhelmingly in my notes for this episode, that I think Tom, why don't you go do something?
Smells like eucalyptus in here.
So anyway, what I was going to say,
be careful.
What I was going to say was, I think in terms of like the sonically, Load and Reload sound so drastically different than everything before them, and because I'm a guitar player, I hear the guitar sounds more than anything. Yeah. And Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets, and Justice for All, really, really aggressive and like rotten kind of guitar sound, really like a thrash metal guitar sound. Black Album is like the refinement of that guitar sound to be expressed in like a really great and huge way. The guitars are gigantic. And in Load and Reload, they sound like, you know, like a 1x8 practice amp, and they're unengaging. And as a guitar player and musician, listening to something that I was so excited for coming off of the Black album, the sonically it doesn't engage me. It doesn't sound exciting.
So that's interesting because I tried to listen to my list of songs through that scope because we had discussed that, and I don't hear it that way. I hear diversity in tones, certainly more diversity, because if you listen to like the thrashier albums, it's that like scooped in your face cheese grater kind of thing. And then I feel like, I mean, I'll reference tones in certain songs. I feel like there's diversity in that, but let's get into some songs. Let's pick them apart. All right. So Brian, since you have the least, why don't you tell us one of your first?
Oh man. So I like the house that Jack built. The clocks in at like 6.5 minutes. It has a slow build similar to some of their older stuff, like For Whom the Bell Tolls, like we referenced earlier, and Enter the Sandman. So there is that DNA from their past again. So you see that trajectory. This was not, I don't think when people are like, that's just so out of left field, it's not. There's a nice swagger to that song. It slithers on with the occasional unexpected bite, whether it's the drum fills and it kind of somewhat newer drum fills coming from Lars. And that could be because of the stripped down kit, could just be him experimenting with different sounds. You have a talk box, you have vocal effects on there. So there's a lot going on in this song sonically. So I think that from an old school fan of them hearing that, you're like, dang, this is jarring. And I think that's why I chose it, is because it is jarring. Dang. It really does. Yeah, man. I'm trying to wash my mouth. But it really captures how tightly knit they are as a band. You know, I don't know. It's I wasn't a huge fan, like I said, of these albums, but and Lars is not my top 20 favorite drummer, but like this stripped down playing of his I really dig it in this album. I think that it's really cool, and I think this particular song really showcases some pretty cool chops on all their parts.
Is that on your list, James?
It is.
Wow.
And I agree with everything you said there too. Like that's all things that you basically recited my notes for me. So thanks for that. I appreciate you. I feel that that song, while being very different, is a great song. And the production value on that song, I think, is incredibly, incredibly high. Like the vocal effects, like you were saying, like whenever he says, open my eyes, like how it's got that big reverb and big delay. It's really lush. The song has an unsettling and eerie vibe to it, even though I think lyrically these are two of Metallica's weakest albums. I think that one has a really, really great feel, great vibe, and I can listen to it as a piece and just enjoy it for what it is. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I really agree with you. Yeah.
Did you have that too, Rob?
I did not have that song, but I'll tell you, the first three, that's one of the first three songs on the album, right?
Yes.
So I had 2x4, but
it's a good one. That almost made the list.
2x4, and those two songs were like, I had a lot of, alternates, and those two kind of filled the same place.
Yep.
To me, like very often when I was younger, I would take my CD player, my boombox into the shower, and I'd bring a CD and just play it as I got ready for school. And it would be Ain't My Bitch through a 2x4 House that Jack built. That would encompass me getting ready in the morning. So those three songs had a very strong nostalgic reference in my life. But to fit the 13 song criteria, I chose 2x4 instead of that song, just because I like the riff. It's kind of Enter Sandman, just backwards. Absolutely, literally the same thing, just backwards. But yeah, I completely agree with what you said there. No argument. It's a good song.
2x4 was one of the first songs. It's not a single, but it was one of the first songs that fans, when they did that early access thing where like certain select fans could come and they were doing like a rehearsal before they went on to start.
They were playing that live in Europe. They were touring it while recording the albums. That's one of the ones you can find live performances of with Black Album tones, which is cool.
Yeah.
So,
who wants to go next?
All right. So we have two of you guys had House that Jack built. I had 2x4. So Brian, you're up again.
I'm up again. All right. Let's see. So I did Until It Sleeps. I like that one. I don't know. I think because like they say like how like they were experimenting with the different sounds, and you really do hear their alternative rock influences. I hear Nirvana. I hear Soundgarden fell on Black Days here to this.
Yes.
Lyrically, this is a heavy hitter. I mean, like you said, a lot was going on in their life at the time between the fire. One of the other things that was going on was like James was the loss of his mother to cancer, as well as his father, and both of them being devout scientists, and they didn't believe in medicine. So he was having to deal with the fact of losing both these these people in his life, and at the same time not understanding why they couldn't just change, their way. So it's a heavy song lyrically. I liked it. I think it resonated with the times of what was going on with grunge and alternative rock at the time, and I thought that was interesting. They still made it their own, so it didn't sound like, hey, I'm jumping on the bandwagon of grunge or alternative rock. Although some people may argue that, I don't. I think that lyrically it stands on its own. There's a lot of heart to that song, a lot of heart, and I really respect that. I think James is not talked enough about as a lyricist, and I think that he really does some different things here. We're used to his social political stance on things, which is just a reckoning force, right? This is something different. He really is bearing his heart and soul here, and I don't know, it's a heavy one. I like it.
Did you have it, Rob?
I did not, but I believe you did.
I did.
Yeah.
Whoa,
This
dude!
is so bizarre. Like, I'm amazed.
Don't worry, he
that
only
I'm
has 4 more tries to be the same as you. So
I'm staggered because these are like, I guess Until It Sleeps is something that I was kind of on the fence whether or not you'd have, Rob. But I would have sworn you'd have House to Jack built. But that you had 2x4 makes perfect sense in its place.
they were the same exact choice for me. It's just that the riff did it for me.
Well, what I say, Enter the Sandman, vibe to it, and you said the same thing. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Now, go on. You explain then I'll tell you why I didn't have that song.
I just think Until It Sleeps actually, like, when it first came out, because that was the first single.
Yeah.
From Load.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember being overwhelmingly unimpressed with it, and on re-listens later on, I just grew to enjoy it for other reasons.
That's so funny. Me too. I did not like it too, especially how much airplay got. It made me not like it anymore. But years later, I love it.
I found it very classy and very inspired the more I listened to it. I love the music side of it. Like, I like it so much more than I have any reason to. And in terms of like all the stuff that I said before about James's voice and the things that, like how it changed and the choices that he made on these 2 albums, I have no problems with them in the context of this song. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Well said, man. Well said.
So I didn't have that song because it being the single on this album, even though I like these albums at the time, coming off of so much Black Album being big in my life, it was too different and it turned me off. But I struggled with it. And again, I picked something else in its place because, summer 96 was an incredibly pivotal summer in my life. I'm 13 years old. It was my last summer in the house I had grown up in before we moved to Airmont. Hanging out with you guys constantly. Like, there was so much music. Like, I literally just put some like hits from 1996 summer 96 playlist on my phone that I found on Apple, and it's like, even like the Macarena, like there was just so much happening. And I remember on MTV that video was in heavy rotation, so I hear that song, I go right back to that summer. So there's the nostalgia component. It just, again, during, I tried to be really responsible with picking things. So instead of picking that song, I chose King Nothing because I felt King Nothing was more akin to the heavier Metallica that I wanted them to be.
I get that.
If I had to pick a 7th track, it would be King Nothing.
Yeah. Again, also kind of the Enter Sandman riff when you break it down, but okay.
I think those are both Kirk riffs too.
Yeah.
Enter Sandman was a Kirk riff, and King Nothing was a Kirk riff, I believe.
But the music video for King Nothing I thought was cool. It just felt darker. Just like the interplay of the guitars, nothing lyrical, just the hook. Just a lot of these songs to me, it's not. And it's a point. I don't want to steal James's point, so I'll let him make it later if you haven't made it yet. But a lot of these songs, I'm not processing from the scope of a Metallica fan, if that makes any sense.
No,
I'm
absolutely.
just hearing it as that song was catchy and I liked it.
Yeah.
So that's my second.
But as a Metallica fan, how do you process this album?
In hindsight, it's all the same thing to me. Like, I think I've grown, like, for example, 10 and Verses are extraordinarily different than No Code and Binaural, but they're all Pearl Jam albums to me. So like, in the concept of seeing them through a live band, they just jump from song to song to song and it all works because it's the same person just cooking different dishes. Yeah.
I think it's the same as the Van Halen Greatest Hits album for you, Rob, because where you were first where you were introduced, you were in the middle of that transition for the band.
Exactly.
So you can go either way and you're totally good with it.
Right. I had no
predisposition.
I wasn't sentimental about
Oh yeah, and that's a good point. And I don't mean this. If this comes across as any other way, please don't take it that way. I think because your inception into the band starts with the Black Album.
100%.
There's a little bit more leeway. It's not. I'm not trying to be jagged. I just my entry into Metallica, believe it or not, is the Black Album as well. I had a friend that was going to in high school copy a CD for me, burn a CD for me, and he actually burned the Black Album. And I was like, this is not what I asked for, but this is awesome. And that's how I got into Metallica. And then I went to the record store to go buy it because I wanted to just have my own CD because I wanted the booklet and everything. And I saw that they had a whole bigger catalog. And I was like, holy shit. And just, as a young kid, like you judge a book by its cover, whether it's the album art. I had seen the Kill 'Em All covers. I bought both albums and I was like, let's do this. So I just like to start like a book. I like to read from the beginning, the introduction, the preface all the way to the end. And I was like, damn. So, but I think you said that earlier, James. I think Black Album is a great entry point for any fan. I think from that point you can go forward and look at all the stuff they've created since Black Album, or you can go backward and see where they started, and they're iconic in the history of heavy metal. I think it's a great entry point for the band, and you said that beautifully earlier.
So in
Absolutely.
saying your story there, Brian, where you went for the Black Album but got Kill 'Em All to go to the beginning, I just immediately had a hot take that
Hot take.
it could be controversial, so get ready, get the buzzers now.
Oh no!
If you were to look at Metallica from Kill 'Em All through Reload, Load and Reload are not my least favorite albums in that arc.
They are for me.
I understand that, but for me,
That's a good thing to think about. I had never.
I'm talking start to finish. I can listen to how many songs before I'm like pressing skip. And there's one album that tonally, production wise, I'm less forgiving of than the others.
Which is?
And I would skip some of it. And it has my favorite Metallica guitar solo on it, honestly.
Ride the Lightning.
That's right.
Lightning. It's Ride the
Yeah,
Lightning.
me too. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's got some great stuff on there, but yeah, it could be cringeworthy at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that way about Kill 'Em All too.
Oh, really? See,
But I'm forgiving of that because it's like
it's their beginning. It's their origin story.
Yeah. No, I get that, but for me, it really like gets up on its feet and goes for it at Master Puppets. I think that's the refinement of those first two efforts in its purest form. Like
And
Master Puppets is a great thing, and
it becomes so curious what would have happened, if Cliff was still around. Would they even be a band? I mean, things could have changed. But it's weird. Like I can be forgiving of Kill 'Em All, just like what's the first Motley Crue album? Is that Too Fast for Love? Well, that's a song on it. I don't know what the album's called. I can't remember right now.
it's not Girls, Girls, Girls.
No, it has Livewire and damn it. But like that's unlistenable. Like, the guitar tones are just MIDI garbage. Like not MIDI, like MIDDY.
On that same note that you said you wonder what would have been if Cliff hadn't passed. My favorite Metallica song is on Injustice for All.
I know. It's just that's just life. Like life is a series of twists and turns, and we only know what we know. And everyone is like, oh, Cliff, but Justice is a solid album. So it's
solid.
Like, it's not even that it's solid, but it deserves more attention. But I would argue with anybody to tell me that Blackened isn't the best Metallica song in the catalog.
I'm telling you, that's the only answer.
And
then the second choice would obviously be Battery, but it's.
Well, I'm sorry. Say it again. What was the best?
Blackened.
Yeah.
And that's a Jason Newsted song. Jason Newsted played that riff for James Hetfield in his apartment before he was ever in the band.
Why do they? That's
I
one
would
thing that
love
I always
to know
didn't like about the band. Why do they always crap on Jason so much? I mean, he had a lot of great input for that band.
So many of my favorite songs, like my favorite Metallica experiments were Jason's. My Friend in Misery, Blackened, Devil. I think Devil's Dance is a Jason Newsted song too, and that's also
see, when you say those things, those are big shoes to fill when someone like Cliff Burton exits the band in an untimely manner.
Yeah.
And then how do you feel? You have to come in your own speed, your own pace, your own footprint. And I think that he did that. I don't know how many other people could have done that. And I think that Robert's done a really good job too. But I think when you just list out some of these things you list since then, not to discredit what Robert's done. I mean, those are pretty monumental things when you comparison to what Cliff had done as well, and the band has done as well. So that's why I think that anybody that craps on Jason has got to be just jumping on some
And
sort
it's
of
so
bandwagon.
weird, like Robert's been in the band longer than Jason and longer than Cliff.
Has it
And
really?
Robert's been in the band longer than Jason, which is crazy. And that was like
that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah,
I would venture to say that Robert is coming up on almost being in the band as long as those two combined.
You're probably very right.
He came in the band, what, 2001-ish? 2003?
That can't be, no.
20 years. I mean, it's 18 years, right? So
but
when I think of Metallica, it's James, Kirk, Jason, Lars. That's what I think of.
Yeah, me too.
So weird. All right, more songs.
Sorry. Yeah.
More music.
All right, so I'm gonna throw one out.
Do it.
So what do we have so
Party
far?
and Coke,
King Nothing, 2x4, and you guys had the same things.
House of Jack built in until it sleeps. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna give another Load song. I have Ain't My Bitch.
I have Ain't My Bitch.
I do not have that.
I just thought that was it just as an opening track, and again, my trifecta of bathing myself in the morning when I used to shower before school, which is wake up an hour earlier to shower to do the spiky hair. Man, like that's just
in.
Hey, where'd it go? I don't know. So I just thought it's such a cool song. And then he's saying bitch, and that's a curse word, and it was just,
Yeah.
So
it's a rocker.
It is.
What this song is good for me to kind of segue a point that I have about this whole thing, that when Bob Rock bid for the Black Album production, he said, "You guys haven't captured what you do live," and that was what his goal with the Black Album was. And I feel like that vanished in the Load and Reload sessions because, like I said earlier, I think all of the tones and I think sonically everything is very loose, and it just doesn't have the same impact. Mm-hmm. But I watched live performances of Ain't My Bitch, ridiculously good live song.
Really?
Because it's got there's just stuff in it that's not on the album. So you hear a song on an album sometimes and it doesn't do anything for you. Then you hear it live and you're like, that's freaking amazing. Yeah. That's Ain't My Bitch to a T. Because Jason's screaming hey into the mics. He's getting the crowd riled up at the same time. James is running around like a madman. It's a great, great live song. Terrible album song, I think, but great live song. And it gets past for that.
Cool.
Nice.
All right. So I don't want Brian to run out because he only has 4.
Okay,
I can have commentary. Don't try to, because of my choices. Just like James has choices of doing a concept. I mean,
dude, I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm excited to see your last 4. It makes each pick so much more special because there was only 6 that you like. So I'm like, I'm saving the perfect bite. Like when you're eating something and there's the eggplant and then the cheese and it's just the perfect balance.
I really want an eggplant parm.
I know. So I do too. It's just to me that was just a balanced album. It's not all there's I like Ain't My Bitches on it. It just wasn't something
it's okay
that I would put on over and over again. That's just me. But you said I'm interested to hear that live version that James was talking about. Because maybe I would have put that on there.
Oh,
listen to the live version from Cutting Stunts, with the whole lead up to it that James does to get the crowd riled up, and then Jason yelling into the mics.
Drew stole my Cutting Stunts VHS tape.
You're never gonna get it back.
Drew.
So I'll throw one out there if you want, so that Brian doesn't run out. Does anybody have Slither?
Yes.
No.
I love that song.
There, I think vocally, the whole thing, the way that it leads up, "Don't go looking for snakes, you might find them," I think is kind of corny, but
it works.
In some regard, in my brain, it made perfect sense. This is so corny and so stupid, but I had put this narrative together in my head about it. What's the Metallica emblem from the early years? It was that coiled up snake, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And the Black Album tour, the Snake Pit tour and all that shit. So don't go looking for snakes, you might find them. Maybe there's some subtext there, you wanted us and this is what you got. Don't go necessarily looking for snakes, you might find them.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a sleeper for me because I recently just rediscovered Reload earlier this year, and I listened to that song weekly almost.
Really,
I did. There's something about the way the chorus sings over itself at the end and the call and response kind of thing, and there's a round happening, row row your boat kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, I just think but maybe it's not a great Metallica song, but it's a great song. I like that a lot.
It is a good song. No arguments.
Nice. I didn't expect that.
No,
No,
I didn't
I-
expect that anybody would ever put those two things together, row your boat, Metallica, but it
Yeah,
happened here.
too.
Okay, do we want to do one more each for us, Rob? Because Brian doesn't have that many left.
Yeah.
Not shitting on anything.
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to keep them separate. So I got a load song. I got Bleeding Me.
I got Bleeding Me too. How do you not have Bleeding Me?
I got
Brian, tell me you got Bleeding Me.
I don't have Bleeding Me.
Son of a, what the hell?
because
I mean,
the slow phaser on the guitar and then
It's
That's a
so,
cool effect.
so pretty.
this is the way the Doors certain albums like were hard for Rob. This album's hard for me to listen to, but
That's
like
okay.
that's just me, you know. I
But you know
tried,
what?
and I did this during things I really like doing, so I didn't do it during like things I'm like doing chores. Like I chose times, very specific times to listen to this to make sure that like it had my attention. I was doing things I love, so it was a good soundtrack to what I was doing. It just wasn't, you know. Yeah, Yankee
Jeremy
fan.
knows. There's some gems. It's what it is. I'm excited for
Yeah.
you to listen to our lists through our scope, and I think you might find something a little bit more enjoyable in
Yeah, I'm excited. So what I want you guys to do is to throw it on that Record Talk
will.
link. I'm not going to do it for you. So
I
you
have
if you want me to
I'll-
listen to it, I will. I will dedicate the time when I'm working in the garage to listen to it. But you got to put it on there because right
I'll
now
send
the
you
only
a
thing on there is
YouTube
my
playlist.
EP.
So I thought that that Bleeding Me is a really good example of clean and quiet Metallica.
Mhm.
That like they don't.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not overly loud.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't get as aggressive as Unforgiven. I don't think, which says a lot. Like it's a very very mellow song throughout.
Because even the heavy is mellow.
Yeah, exactly. I think that riff, that whole song, if it were recorded during the Master of Puppets sessions, would have been a completely different animal, and would have been way more acceptable. Because that album had a lot of like those eerie kind of things, like Thing That Should Not Be, Sanitarium. They both had that clean eeriness going on with them, and I feel like in those sessions it would have been perfectly at home.
Great perspective.
And another note I had here, throughout all of these albums, did anybody notice any bookending like I did? Because like I was going to ask earlier if anybody had any notion that these might have been like closet concept albums, because bookending really happens a lot in the concept format typically for bands. I noticed like it happens a lot in The Wall, it happens a lot in The Fragile, Downward Spiral, things like that. But at the tail end of the guitar solo, bookends King Nothing.
Really?
And if you go through and you listen to Load and like really give it your attention for like little idiosyncrasies throughout a lot of these songs, a lot of them connect. And I noticed that a little bit initially years ago, but I noticed it so much more now.
That's why it'd be interesting to listen to it as a full solid double album rather than two separate releases. Because there is, whether it was intentional or just a nice happy accident, or maybe more the likelihood there, it's still really cool.
Brian, do you have any more Load songs you want to reload?
I do. Wait. Nope. I do have one more Load song. I do. Yeah.
And James, do you have any more Load songs?
I do.
Okay, I have one more as well. So maybe it's all the same. Very doubtful. And, Brian, go for it.
Poor Twisted Me.
Oh, that's a good one.
So the reason why I like that is it has this really nice tip of the hat to Van Halen. The intro with the guitar, I think that's why I really enjoy the song. Is it has like a more Van Halen vibe to it. It's got a swing to it, but this really hard punch in the face swing to it that it brings forth. I also like the way, again, his voice is made to sound as if though he is trapped within himself and he's stifled within his own self. And I think that really works well with the lyrics. I love when a vocalist not only is putting out lyrics that are just phenomenal and just really touch you, but what do you do with your voice aside from you singing it? Whether you come at it like an artist, like what else do you do with this aside from the way you sing? And I think that the way they use the effect to make it sound like it's stifled and held back really complements the content and lyrics. And I love that. It really resonated with me. So, and coming off of Van Halen, I thought it was a really cool, whether it was intentional or not, you hear Van Halen influence in there.
Interesting. I'll have to go back and listen to that now.
Yeah.
Like that. Spoiler alert, that's not on my list.
No.
But
nor mine, but that's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's your Load one, James?
Load one.
Thorn Within.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll have a different one here. Okay.
All right.
Interesting. Yeah, I thought that was I thought it was fun. I love the hook back into the verse and the hook back into the chorus is really cool. Like it's that I thought it was a really fun riff and kind of on the darker side, so it made me feel like Metallica of old, but a little bit. But that's kind of where I was at with it. It lyrically didn't do much for me, but I thought as a piece and like as a hook, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I had Wasting My Hate.
Wasting My Hate.
Wasting My Hate. Oh,
because it's catchy. It's a pop song. Really, it's so upbeat. It's almost like it's upbeat. It's not thrashy by any means, but it's just again the hook. It's not a Metallica song, but just as a catchy rock song, an alternative rock song, I like it.
Yeah, no arguments there.
Right on.
Interesting.
All right, we're on to the reload error.
Brian, how many do you have left, Brian?
3.
3.
You have 3. All right. Rob, you want to do 2?
Sure.
Or do you want to just do one more? I'll throw one more and.
Oh, I'll say one. Or you go for it. You're up, I think.
I have Devil's Dance.
Me too.
I don't know how you don't really have that. I feel like that's the reload version of Sad But True.
I have that too.
And
first time that happened. There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
But what I said earlier about
Hetfield's
voice, coming out of the guitar solo, which the guitar solo on Devil's Dance is fire.
Yeah.
So with the pitch shifter and like all the times that it comes back in with the pitch shifter throughout, friggin' amazing. But Hetfield, when he comes back in, I Feel You Too. That's like a vintage Hetfield growl. Like that belongs in the Black Album. And I loved it.
Punchy headbanger, bro. It's punchy headbanger.
It's funny because the ha come dance, like that just had me like But then like little moments like that are so sick that I was like, how do you not pick that song? And it's the bass in the beginning is really, really creepy and just it's a great riff. It's a great song. And
that was one also that on that Escape from the Studio tour in 95 when they were playing 2x4 live and House to Jack Built live, they were playing Devil's Dance, but Devil's Dance didn't come out until 97.
So much later. Yeah.
So it's like, and it's not that different structurally. I think it's kind of the same song.
Yeah. But it's very evident. Like they weren't bullshitting us, like that was all one writing session that just got divvied up into two
That's
things.
Interesting. Look at that, James. In Devil's Dance, he says, "Snake, I am the snake."
Yeah,
but hey, you might be onto something there with the Slither thing. I'm serious.
Who knows? It made sense to me, and like because that was a Reload song, and there was backlash after Load, so like maybe there was some subtext there. I in my own mind, I'll say that I'm right, but who knows?
I don't disagree. I think Brian quit, but
Brian's done with Record Talk. Jeez. But something that I guess I could say without Brian being here, because it's us and because a year and a half in the life of Metallica. Oh, Brian's back.
That's a great shirt, man.
Sorry. Oh, thank you.
We thought you quit Record Talk because of these problems.
Brains.
That's awesome.
No, I got interrupted with my middle child. I was like, I need your help. I was like,
his Mother Love Bone shirt.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yes.
So something I was going to say, just until you got back, in the year and a half in the life of Metallica video, when Kirk is recording the Unforgiven solo, Bob Rock says to him, "Let's see the Guitar Player of the Year solo," and I believe he got Guitar Player of the Year for that solo. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was in Guitar World.
What is your favorite Metallica guitar solo? I have 2.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Thing that should not be.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, no, wait. Oh, crap. Can I pick 2? You have 2.
I have 2.
Thing that should not be in My Friend in Misery.
Ooh.
The intro to My Friend in Misery where he's just like on that double stop and going nuts with the bar and with the wah and all that delay and all that distortion. It's like I would challenge anybody who's listening to this to listen to the opening of the My Friend in Misery solo and just not get chills. It's freaking ridiculous. Sorry.
Nice.
Rob, what are yours?
Fade to Black and Wherever I May Roam.
Ooh,
and I believe Wherever I May Roam, Kirk said is one of his favorite solos he ever did. So
he did. Did you in that show where they go back into the studio tapes Have you heard all of the soloing that he did at the end of it that gets lost in the fade out?
At one point I did. I think I rented it for Netflix back when they actually would send you a CD, a
It's on,
DVD.
it's on Prime now. You can watch it there.
Well then,
But
Oh.
yeah, there's like 2 minutes after the song is over of Kirk just going apeshit. It's
awesome.
great.
Oh, that's cool.
All right. So Brian, you got 2 left.
I do, yeah. See, to me, with Devil's Dance, I also hear a little bit of riding the coattails of Sad But True. I hear a little bit of that.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, did you guys say that?
It's the reload version.
Tuning,
Sad But
yeah,
True.
Oh, okay.
100%.
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
call.
I got 2 more left, man. 2 more.
All right. So who's the Devil's Dance? You said Devil's Dance or I said Devil's Dance?
I said Devil's Dance.
All right. So then I'll shoot one out here. I got a lot of reload songs. I mean, and it's definitely, again, even more so than my load picks. I like these songs, but probably not as Metallica songs. Bad Seed.
I have Bad Seed.
I do not.
I love the cough at the beginning and like the way that and the cough at the end, like with the delays. I think it's very, very funny. So yeah, I thought it was a great song.
It's no Sweet Leaf, but it's a nice cough.
Catchy. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing deep about it. There's nothing that I can be like, oh my gosh, I love that. But again, tonally, there's different things happening between. If you go listen to the guitar tones in Devil Dance, Bad Seed, and Slither, I think are the ones we've discussed on this album so far. Like those are different sounds than what you would hear, previously.
Yeah. But Bad Seed has a really, you guys always say something has a great swagger. I think that this song has a great swagger to it.
I agree.
I think it's a really, really fun riff.
Yep. I think
that goes a long way for me.
Yeah, really. It does. I'm cutting you off before you negate it in the next breath.
The heretic has arrived.
I mean, that's a really catchy riff if you like shitty riffs.
Oh, what a backhanded compliment.
It's a great riff.
It is.
Okay.
All right. So what do you got left? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left, I think.
I have 5 left as well. Somehow we've made this work. This is working out perfectly.
Yeah,
okay.
I got 2.
All right. Brian, you want us to each pick one or you want to throw?
Yeah, you guys pick one. Go ahead.
All right. James, you're up.
I'll sprinkle mine next time.
I got Better Than You.
Good choice.
I didn't really write any notes down for it. It was just a fun romp of a song. Like it's kind of upbeat. Doesn't really lose your attention. I think that the chorus, the what's it called? The verse is actually pretty up tempo, and then the chorus goes halftime, and I like that a lot. I feel like slowing down the chorus gives a lot of sludge, and it's a great sounding song.
Hold on 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves.
All right.
That
one
topic.
initially was on my list. I forget why I took it off though. I don't think it just resonated with me. I think that may have been why.
I'm back.
I feel like if it didn't resonate with you, I feel like that's easy for a lot of these songs. I don't think they're the most vocally stimulating songs in the catalog. Some of them, sure.
It's not even just vocally, because like it's not always about the lyrics for me. It's I think the album just doesn't resonate as, and I think that's why this is really good practice to figure out what I would.
It's because the guitars are unengaging.
A lot of people felt like Reload was leftovers, but I have more Reload songs than Load songs.
I did before I trimmed it, yeah.
And you missed it while you stepped away for a moment.
Oh, I could hear you. I just muted because I had a song in here and I didn't remember what it was. I had to listen to it.
Oh no, not you, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, when Brian stepped away for a moment, Rob had mentioned how they were playing, what was it, House That Jack Built in 2x4 and Devil's Dance during the Snake Pit tour. So those songs were kicking around all at the same time, and 2x4 and House That Jack Built got released before Devil's Dance, but they were playing that in 1994. Yeah. So these are all like very old songs. It's
oh yeah,
which is why it's weird to me that like what happened.
I hope that these albums, after this giant Black Album box set comes out, I hope they do something, a retrospective of Load and Reload, so we can get that full story.
I'd really love to know.
Very fleshed out demos of a lot of these songs. That's the link I sent you guys. It's them jamming it out and James kind of just making, scatting and riffs and stuff with his mouth for the melodies. It's cool.
Yeah.
There's a story to be told.
There always is.
All right, you got one? Who's going?
No, I did. I said Better Than You. So
that's right. Prince Charming.
I have Prince Charming too.
Oh, look
Prince
at you
Prince,
two.
Prince Charming is a great
Look at
riff.
you sharing one
Um,
brain.
It's the riff. The riff gets me right from the beginning. You can hear the articulation of the strings and the pick on the strings and the bends. Like and it's the tone again. That's not a Metallica tone at all.
I have it written here. This is a Metallica party song. I don't know a better way to say that.
That's a good way of describing that.
There's 4 horsemen in the chorus. If you need your throwback to Kill 'Em All, there's definitely 4 horsemen in the chorus. There's a lot of sludge after the solo, like where it breaks down a little bit after the guitar solo. I think is really, really cool. But again, lyrically, not the strongest piece.
Nope.
But I mean, like Prince Charming, when Reload came out, was my favorite song on Reload.
I don't disagree. That one grabbed me again from the beginning because where I was coming from musically, it was just happy.
Yeah.
And you don't think of very many happy Metallica songs.
No.
What are there other ones?
I'm lost at the moment.
I don't.
Hero of the Day is probably supposed to be a happy Metallica song, but I just can't get over how boring it is.
I mean, Bad Seed is kind of happy-ish. It's interesting because Bad Seed they've never played live, but they've like when they do the duels where they jam it.
Yeah. I was just thinking that there's a scene in Cunning Stunts where they're like bridging the gap between 2 songs and just messing around and they play it. That's so odd.
I've got one that I bet neither of you have.
I'm so curious now.
Low Man's Lyric.
I don't have Low Man's Lyric.
Now, why do I have that? Because the first time I saw Metallica live, you were both there. We were all there, weren't we?
Yes.
Giant Stadium?
When they did the acoustic set, they played that song.
No, I wasn't there for that.
You were there.
Mm-mm.
We all saw Metallica together.
The Giant Stadium.
I just don't remember that. Yeah.
That's it. They did an acoustic set. You don't remember that?
God damn it. I don't remember that.
They played Four Horsemen acoustically.
Yeah.
That I remember.
I'm pretty sure
remember.
they played that song. Oh, man. I have a
I
false
don't
memory.
remember that.
All right. Hold on. I like it because it's just a cool song. I don't know.
Hey, do you
Maybe
like
you're
what you
right.
like?
It may not stuck with me because again, these albums don't stick with me. So maybe you're right. I do remember Four Horsemen though. I don't remember that one, but I definitely will stand corrected.
I got to find a video of it. It was July 17th. Oh, that's so weird because that's like 10 days ago or so.
Jesus.
1998.
Wow.
Yeah, they played that song. Wow, I can get you a whole set list from that show. Crazy.
Oh, if you could please send that to us in the group text, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Rocky
dude. So
Depot.
check it out. So the acoustic set was Low Man's Lyric, Four Horsemen, Last Caress. And they came back for the encore, Sad But True, Sandman, and then closed out with Creeping Death. Wow.
Wow.
Awesome.
Creeping Death.
It's really funny to hear.
Gary Cantrell and who else opened?
Days of the New.
Right. Oh, that was a great bill.
Yeah.
It's funny hearing Creeping Death being the end of the show.
Yeah.
Because I've been watching the Live Ship Binge and Purge Snake Pit tour videos while I'm running. It's like the second song in the set. It's right after the Sandman.
I thought that was a great closer. I remember being so elated when Creeping Death was the closer. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Oh, they opened with Breadfan, that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were doing that I think they did that throughout the like end of the Black Album and Load Reload tours. They did that. That's a really fun song.
So
if it were a Metallica song.
They didn't play For Whom the Bell Tolls at that show. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I remember.
We went to Rod Stewart's Pizza afterwards, but I remember that.
I do.
Kinsley's.
Yeah, I was wrecked. Yes, I do remember that.
Brian,
Yeah.
Brian, what else do you have?
Yeah.
You know, oddly enough, I have Fuel. So, and the reason why is because it's this high octane rocker. It's got its brief thrashy moments, I think. So, like that resonates with me. Before it quickly returns though to that more groove metal approach that's laden throughout this whole album. But you have that classic guitar solo that you hear that's heard in there. I think that the reason why I like Fuel though is it captures the raw carnal energy that the band brings live. And I feel like that song, I know what you said about the guitars and the sound overall. I don't agree with that song though. I think that song, if you were to take the energy that they bring forth live, I think it's somewhat captured in this song, just minus the offbeat messiness of Lars live. I think that this is the best version of them live. You know, I that you get without having a live cut, whether it be video or a recording. That's why I think I like that. Yeah, I think it captures their raw carnal energy, and I don't feel that as much in some of the other songs.
I had Fuel on my list and I took it off for a different song that I'll say in a second. But
Yeah.
I think Fuel is the reason why Tom Pisani wound up being someone we played music with instead of Tim, because we were jamming on Fuel back when it came out, and Tom did the double bass drum part like flawlessly, better than anyone else we knew. I think we played it with you, Brian, as well too. And it was just like, that's hard. What's happening in that song? Just the way it.
No, that's before me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or after me. Way after me. Because if you're talking Tim, that's way after me.
Yeah, but it was always a circle. Circle.
It's a lot of innuendos here.
What is that?
I said there's a lot of innuendos here with load, reload, circle, go.
That's a good song. I didn't have that on my list, but I put something different. But did you have it, James?
I did not have it.
I didn't expect you guys to.
In the process of like listening to those songs, I listened to like the first. This is so terrible. I apologize in advance. I listened to like the first 30 seconds and was like, nope.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see that, and I thought that was going to be my because I don't. That's why I stopped listening to radio back in New York years ago, is because I don't like how they constantly kill, whether it was classic rock radio or the rock stations. They just would kill a song. It would come out and they would just play it to death. And Fuel was that. And I thought for sure that would be this case when I revisited it, but it wasn't. So I was pleasantly surprised myself by that.
Interesting.
So you have one more, Brian?
I do. I have one more.
All right. I have.
Bet you none of you have it. Which is interesting because this will bring it full circle to what we were saying earlier.
I have
I have-
three.
So
I do
that
too.
gives any hints.
I'm scared.
What you
Why
want
is
to
that
do?
scary?
Why don't you do your two? I'll do my two, and then we'll all do our.
Oh, James! No!
I mean, way to leave us hanging, bro.
Why don't we just click? What a dick move. Now we have this line in front of our face. Where do I go? Do I go down? Do I go up? Do I put myself in front of this?
Oh, you're back. Here we are. Oh, here he is. He's back. He is here.
What a dick move, James.
Did anybody else flicker a couple times there?
No.
Oh, you just disappeared.
You're just like,
So,
fuck
like,
this about.
my all of our screens were flickering black. So Melissa turned on the hairdryer, and the electricity in my house is a little wonky. So if I
Right
drop
on.
out again, let me know, or I'll know, because it'll just go back to my freaking desktop.
Yeah, we'll
But,
know. But you won't be here.
Yes, exactly. So what did you have, Rob? I'm sorry.
Yes, I don't have Memory Remains.
I do not have Memory Remains either.
I have
The memory. Come on.
so I'm gonna jump off. No, I'm gonna jump off Reload for a second. I had I Disappear.
I Disappear too.
If that's where they were gonna go with Jason before, instead of where they went with Saint Anger, that would have been cool. Metallica.
I think it would have been too. I
It's a
think
cool
that's.
song.
I think that song is the.
God, that's just like the song I chose. Some of these reasons, which is not. That's not the song I chose, but it's interesting you say all those things.
I think that song could have been like how the Black Album was like bridging the gap between And Justice for All and Load and Reload. I feel like that could have bridged the gap from Reload to something else that was completely different, and it would have been totally fine.
You got to give an honest listen to Hardwired to Self-Destruct.
I haven't listened to anything past Reload.
So you don't need to. But if you skip Saint Anger and you skip Death Magnetic, where they're trying to be lots of different things, I Disappear does bridge the gap to
Hardwired.
Hardwired, yeah. Hardwired to me is like Justice, Black Album, and Load Reload together.
See, now I'll listen to that tomorrow. You sold me on that. It's like a conversation I've been meaning to have with everybody I know that would have listened to it. Be like, is this worth me wasting my time?
Yeah, it's worth a listen. I couldn't sing you a song right now. Maybe that says something, but I enjoyed it when I've listened to it.
Okay, conversely, I'm sorry, I'm going to put us on a tangent for a second. If Pearl Jam released a brand new album
Oh,
tomorrow,
we're over time here, guys. There's no B-side today.
Oh, absolutely not.
Well,
I wasn't
we only got a few
expecting
more
it.
songs. What about Pearl Jam?
If Pearl, super interested now. If Pearl Jam released an album right now, would you tomorrow know all of the songs by heart?
No.
Not necessarily.
No.
So it is a two-way street.
I loved
Because you've
one
said
of
that
the-
in previous episodes.
Yeah, I loved a song on the most recent Pearl Jam album, and I couldn't sing it to you right now if I tried. And I loved it.
I think that's not indicative of the problem with the band or a problem with the album. I think that's indicative of
Your
where
brain.
we're at in our lives, that we
Some
can't
room.
absorb it the way we could these songs when we were younger. That like
I disagree. I think that I think there's got to be something, and this is my opinion, because the For My Friends album, the 2008 release, the first album with Travis Warren as the new singer Blind Melon, I could sing you every single goddamn song off that album.
Brian
And
just
that's not because I'm a huge Blind Melon fan, because that's a brand new lyricist, you know?
Brian just said to you, James, he said, no.
No. What?
that was the
Rob.
that,
It wasn't my reaction like when Rob said those EPs and anything else suck. I'm like,
that was 100% what it was. You just censored it a little bit.
Well said, Jeremy.
I definitely don't feel okay. Yeah,
He does.
Okay, wait.
Oh, you don't feel it?
you
Shut
definitely
yourself.
don't.
Oh,
Feel
I'm
the
still gonna
load.
give it a try. I'll see what
I
it's
want to.
about.
Yeah, that's a great. I like the way you wrote. Said that, Rob. I mean, you guys. It's another. You had a lot of great nuggets of the Van Halen episode where you guys described certain things, and yeah. So I'm gonna definitely Hardwired's on my list of things to listen to.
check it out. Can't hurt. Don't pay for it. Listen on YouTube.
I'm going to.
My last reloads. You have 2 left, Rob?
I have 2 reloads left.
My last reload song. No, not my last reload song. Jeez. My second to last song. Where the Wild Things Are.
Okay. Really?
Really?
Wow.
Absolutely.
Look
Absolutely.
at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
go ahead.
I
Explain
think
yourself.
I just think it's just an interesting song. It's kind of different than everything else, and I like James's, for all the times that I crapped on his vocal stylings throughout these 2 albums. I really appreciated it on that song. I thought it fit the tone of the song perfectly. It's a cool song.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the song stands out as most likely to me. Jason Newsted, it's the only song he has a hand in writing in that one. So right off the bat, it has a different feel to it, the way we've talked about some of the other approaches he has to the music. So that's why I think that when people jump the bandwagon and give him hate because the band gave him hate, I think that's pretty crappy on their part and not really taking a chance to really look at the artist objectively. The song drags along the floor like a ragged corpse. It's gnarly at times, but then there's a glimmer of light, man, with the pre-chorus and chorus harmonies and the vocals that are on the more soothing side of Metallica's typically jagged edges. So talking about happier songs, I definitely don't rank this as a happier song, but there is a lighter feel to it. And we were talking about that kind of that juxtaposition and balance of light and heavy. I think this song captures it in a very weird dance way, like this weird kind of. It's like a dance.
There's a march in there too.
Yeah, it's just it's I like it. And I don't know. It's a great title too. It's one of Marie Sendak, Where the Wild Things Are book, children's book. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So you got 2 left, Rob?
I do. And I do like that song, but I had Carpe Diem Baby. Again, not a Metallica song. But I like it.
Interesting.
Like
that one, I went back into that knowing that it wasn't one of my favorites from years ago, hoping that I would have matured a little bit and found something else in it, and I just couldn't get there.
That was another one where I thought too I didn't like it initially, and I was like, well, that's okay, just give it a chance, because I honestly thought I would hit skip on Fuel. That one I skipped. I didn't make it all the way through. I'm like, no, I still don't like this.
I mean, for proper context for me,
yeah,
on Reload, I like every song except for Attitude. So that was a really hard one for me to pick my favorite ones, because I like every song. In Unforgiven 2, it's hit or miss, but when I'm in the right headspace, it's cool. But Attitude is the only one I don't like on it. So
fucking Attitude. Oh, sorry. No, it's not even
so what's your last song, James? Is it my last song?
Do we want to let Brian have this one? Let him go.
That
first,
was my last one. I gave you my last one.
Oh, that was your last one.
Yeah, I shot my load.
Jesus.
Sorry. I had to. Oh.
Okay. Mine as well.
It is yours.
Yeah.
Fucking high five. But I love the intro, the guitar intro. I think is really, really cool. I want to say playful, but that's not what I mean to say. I get like it's a good like Bleeding Me vibe kind of coming out of that song a little bit. I love it.
Yeah, I like the slow as it rides up into it, builds into it. It's dark.
Yeah, very, very dark.
From the beginning, that was a song that kind of connected to me.
Yeah. That was one of the easier ones for me. Like that was an automatic on my list.
Yeah, from like the first listen to the album, that was one of my songs I was super into.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's someone outside the door at 10 o'clock, which you're not welcome, sir.
You shall not pass.
So
Now-
go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just making sounds to segue. There wasn't thought coming after.
So I had one thought while I listened to the albums in their entirety to try and figure out what I was going to pick, you know, like aside from some that were more or less, like I was just saying, like they were automatic for me. And I went into it after like listening to it and getting a feel for what was going on musically at that time. I told Rob this while we were in New York. I didn't try to pick a Metallica album out of all these songs. I tried to pick an Alice in Chains album.
Oh, sorry. It just
ruined me completely.
yeah. It just brought back memories of living with an English bulldog. I just sorry.
You kept my mouth closed. Do you hear that?
Yes, of course
Yes.
it did.
Yes,
Probably
very
louder
much.
than if you pulled away.
But I feel like if you can, and maybe this is just something that I do, but I feel like if you can superimpose all of these songs that we've talked about and that we've picked as performed by Alice in Chains with Lane Staley singing them, you would love them.
Maybe.
Does that sound nuts?
No, it'd be interesting to hear another
Because-
singer coming at this differently. I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like after these albums gave me an overwhelming feeling. What?
Sorry, no, I was just trying to see what it looks like live, and then it started talking.
Oh,
Was that
As an ad.
These albums kind of like gave me an overwhelming sensation of the band getting, this is going to sound worse than I intended to, but getting too big for their britches. That they had come off of, you know, like being newcomers and not getting the notoriety that they were hoping for or maybe deserved. Then the Black Album hit and they exploded. Like they went from 0 to 100 in, you know, the blink of an eye. And then it became Carpe Diem. Like you can kind of just do whatever you want. And I feel like they did, and it was too much all at once.
I think also
and some of it, I think, translated to me is like the band phoning it in. Like that whole thing with Kirk and the Guitar Player of the Year solo, there aren't any of those on this.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
like it just seemed like it wasn't. They tried so hard on the Black Album, and I feel like this is half of that effort at its best.
I feel
I
like
disagree.
also,
Okay.
I feel like they were. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you started. I just want to say that I disagree. But go ahead.
No.
That's twice in one episode. Damn it!
I think that
Who's a heretic now?
When it comes to these
That
albums, I think
tattooed leg
it's
sticking
very,
up
very
in the neck.
subjective. You were saying, Rob? Sorry.
I'm sorry, I was distracted by Brian's massive leg tattoos.
Trying to find a comfortable position. There we go. Hey, gentlemen. Welcome to the show. That's
I like that
my
when the
mic.
mic, I like when the mic shows in the frame a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, just the
Bring it
tip of it though, not the whole thing.
Tip.
Don't give
Yeah.
away the show.
Hey, where you?
I think that they were crushed by the pressure of the Black Album, and this was them trying to experiment and conform, even because you think like mid 90s, like they played Lollapalooza, you know, on this tour.
Yeah.
Like that's an alternative rock festival, so they're trying to find a way to fit and
To be relevant.
Yeah.
because
okay, maybe
if the thrash rocket was going upward and then it kind of peaked at Master of Puppets and it became something unique and special on Justice. Black Album flatlined, but that flatline like a compressor just knocked it to this, you know, stratosphere. But now they're here. Where do we go? Oh, we're gonna go wherever we want. And that's why I think it's so experimental. I mean, it's not like Lulu experimental with Lou Reed. That's hot dog shit. But it's just I don't know. I think it serves its purpose. And if you follow the arc from Kill 'Em All the way to Hardwired to Self-Destruct, I just don't personally feel like this is the lowest point they had in the journey.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah, you make a good point. I was gonna say maybe it was more of like, do you think they don't give a flying fuck what other people thought? Like we're just gonna do our thing. But when you put it into the case, it's like, you know, we're just gonna do our own thing. Like instead of trying to figure out how to top what we just did and set the bar high, why do we need to? We're already icons in the genre. We have we are the big four for a goddamn reason. I don't need to prove anything. But when you put it in the context of they're playing Lollapalooza, not to say they have no business playing at Lollapalooza, but I don't. You bring up a really good. You bring a point. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm being too much of the optimist there. Not Optimus Prime. Everybody go check out War on Cybertron. It's awesome.
Autobots, roll out.
Yes.
So I was watching right before we came to this War for
Watching
Cybertron.
He-Man?
Not yet. No, I got really hooked on with my kids. War for Cybertron.
Where's that?
It's on Netflix. It's like a prequel. It's the first part of like. It looks like there's a trilogy of limited seasons. Like there's that one has like several episodes, and there's a new one. And there's another one. So
the He-Man's only 5 episodes, so I think that's their new thing where they're just really.
It may be part 1, part 2, though. You think, right?
Oh, yeah, there's part 2 coming on, but still, 10 episodes, still the same.
I don't think with War Cybertron that's the case. I think that has a series, and then there's another one. It has like several, and then there's another one that has several, and it plays as a prequel. It's really cool. It's a nice. So far, I'm only on episode 2. It's phenomenal. Sorry.
How long are the episodes?
Do you guys want to see this right here?
25 minutes.
I'm driving this car and I'm just gonna go like this. Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer number 2. Anybody?
Is it the one we all watched, right? We all talking about? Yeah.
James showed me a video today of the main girl looking like a very different girl. I'm confused.
I think she was. I think she aged that much from when she shot the movie because it's been stuck for over a year because of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So she's like a full year and a half older.
The first trailer
than
for
she
that
was.
came out a long time ago, and I remember being like, "What's going on?"
It was supposed to come out March 2020. Now it's coming out November 21. So yeah, I mean, if they and then figure all the post, but they probably finished filming this thing in early 19. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So like a lot of those actors, like they're probably like you were saying, it's probably 2 years on from when they finished filming.
I'm excited for it. I think they're going to do it right. I feel confident.
I feel like
I
with
just hope
everything,
it doesn't go cutesy. I mean, it's funny the scene with all the little Stay Puft. I just hope it doesn't go too cutesy just for the sake of capturing.
Ray answering the phone was everything.
Ray answering
That
the phone.
was-
And did you see on his arm? Did anybody watch the deep dive into the trailer?
No, not yet.
Do you remember the scene in the first Ghostbusters where Ray and Winston are having the conversation in Ecto 1 about do you believe in God, Ray?
Yeah.
And he says, I remember Revelation. I can't remember the number, but he said that whole passage. If you look at Ray's arm in that scene where he answers the phone, he's got it tattooed on his forearm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot of little like casual, intentional callbacks.
Yeah. It's such a love letter to the first movie. I feel like for everything they've shown, and I know what you're saying about it being too cute with the Stay Puffs and stuff like that.
I just hope it's not going to be that way.
Watch that deep dive trailer breakdown where they slow a lot of stuff down that you might have missed initially.
Is that from New Rockstars? Did they do the deep dive or is somebody else doing it?
No, Jason Reitman did it for IGN.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll check that
out.
Yeah.
It's worth your 15 minutes to watch it.
Yeah.
And I have no concerns whatsoever.
Okay.
I genuinely feel like you ever see like a trailer for a movie and you're like, wow, I hope that's going to be awesome. And then it's something that you get excited for and you're like, oh, I feel like there's no way that's going to be a bad movie. And then it lets you down apocalyptically. I feel like there is no way this movie is going to let me down at all.
Your words.
I hope I don't too. I don't see from everything that they've shown us. I don't know how.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but
anything's possible.
There's just too. And then the toy drop today with the Sentinel Terror Dogs. I'm done.
The toys with them like the
Aged.
current Ghostbusters aged. Come on.
Yeah. Did you see the Terror Dog walking on its hind legs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had seen concept art for that, and I wasn't sure if it was real, and then I saw that today.
Well, even the new Slimer-esque ghost is pretty cool. It's
what are they calling him? They gave him a name. They told him
Munchie or something like that.
Yeah.
I forget.
Muncher, maybe.
Yeah. Definitely, you guys. Seriously, watch that deep dive.
Send it to us.
So good.
Rob, you already watched it?
I didn't watch the director one because I thought I would be not as like Easter eggy, but then I read the comments in the video that I was watching by someone else, and I'm like, I don't even feel like I should be doing this, but he just did it for us, and he knows more than anyone because he made the movie.
There's certain movies, Star Wars. I stopped watching certain things at a certain point. There's certain movies I just stopped watching because I want to have the aspect of surprise, and I know
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man, I've stopped reading anything about No Way Home because like there's just too many leaks. So I don't read. If I see a Spider-Man article, I see the SP, I just scan. I mean, I don't have anything to do with Spider-Man. I just like I don't want to know right now.
You finished Loki?
Oh yeah,
You like it?
I did. Yeah,
Okay.
It felt like the way a graphic novel or a really good short story arc come to live action. It was done really well. Stylistically, it was gorgeous, and it was very
What If
chatty at
next
times.
week?
But what's that?
What If is what next week? I think it starts
No kidding, really?
August. Yeah,
Oh, right on.
maybe the week after.
Well, that's a lot of excitement right there.
And that one's animated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's check that out.
All right, gentlemen. So what is the future? So we'll recap if you guys are listening to this in the podcast form. You can click below, and there will be a link to the YouTube channel that'll have all of the our lists. And then I guess if you're watching this, same thing. Sometime tomorrow we'll get that updated. But thank you so much for joining us on this. Perhaps.
Al said, I fell asleep holding a large cup of coffee. Were we that boring, or did you just have a really crappy cup of coffee?
Are you burned? You don't drink coffee.
Oh, dear.
And you don't type so good. That's a good type. I'm confused. Anyway.
Many puzzling things.
Yeah. All right. Well.
So that's
Our
Load
future
and Reload.
Yeah. So our future episodes are going to be pre-taped, but we're still going to be able to debut them in the same format. So it'll be a live stream of a pre-recorded video with some fancy schmancy post-production coming your way.
Yeah, it's going to allow us as artists to do a little bit more. The live thing has been really fun for us. But I think just as our lives have, just changed even just over the last 2 years, it's just, it's getting harder to do some of these live episodes with everybody's lives having just different responsibilities and things coming up. So I think doing pre-recording allows us a little more freedom as artists and just doing content for this show. So it's a new exciting chapter. We'll still release these on Wednesdays.
Sounds good.
Yeah, definitely. We'll put a plan together and looking for some feedback and some ideas. And thanks, you guys, for hanging on this live stream. We had a good crowd hanging the whole time, so we appreciate that. It's been about an hour and 20 minutes, so we should wind it down. But we thank you, and we look forward for fun times in the future. We're going to play a little bit for one more time. We'll send us out as the only way.
Stand by for what next week will hold, or the next time we have release something.
I'm not really sure what that's going to be. Do we know?
Nope.
I'm just excited. Like, is Rob going to do the My Own Summer Crazy Blue Eyes remix? I guess that's a no.